Speaker, we are on the cusp of Holy Week for thousands of Christians across Canberra. Last week, thousands of people across Canberra marked the beginning of Ramadan, a month in which Muslims put themselves in the position of those who are going without, fasting from sunrise to sunset. However, Ramadan this year is different for many in my community. It's a much more solemn month, overshadowed by one of the largest humanitarian crises of the 21st century. The level of destruction that we are seeing in the occupied territories is devastating. 1.7 million people in Gaza have been displaced, and the death toll now sits at more than 31,000. More than 12,000 of those are children. Children are dying of malnutrition. This is unacceptable. More children have been killed in Gaza in the last 5 months than in all conflicts worldwide in the past 4 years. Gaza has now become the most dangerous place in the world if you are a child, according to UNICEF. More humanitarian aid must be let in. There are tons of supplies sitting at crossings being denied access by the Israeli government. There must be an immediate humanitarian ceasefire with the release of remaining hostages, and there must be an enduring two-state solution. This is the bare minimum needed to alleviate the suffering of the Palestinian people. Speaker, the Canberra region has a small, big-hearted Tibetan refugee community, many of whom have taken the path to citizenship. Many were here earlier this week with members of the Uyghur diaspora protesting for what should be universal human rights. Many Tibetans who come to Australia have been arrested for their activities in Tibet within Chinese borders. They've shared with me ongoing human rights concerns in Tibet and the challenges of speaking out, being afraid to communicate with families still there, the fear that any contact might generate unwanted attention on that family member. They've shared their commitment to trying to increase the freedoms that their families in Tibet experience. Last week I was part of a multi-party delegation to meet with the Tibetan Central Administration in Dharamshala in northern India. Arranged by the Tibet Information Office and the Australia-Tibet Council, the Parliamentary Group for Tibet included Senator Dean Smith, Senator Deborah O'Neill and Michael McCormack MP. Our purpose was to meet with members of the Central Tibetan Administration, including the Sikyong, ministers of his government and members of the democratically elected government of the diaspora, and to recognise the 65th anniversary of the 1959 uprising in Tibet. We had the extraordinary privilege of meeting with the Dalai Lama for nearly an hour. Receiving his guidance on how we approach our responsibilities and lead in a fractured world was particularly special, as well as getting a better insight into why the human rights concerns of Tibetans should concern us all. We met with younger members of the diaspora who have made the courageous decision to leave Tibet, their families and home in search of freedom, and heard their concerns for fellow Tibetans in China, particularly around basic freedoms to practice religion, to be active in community, to speaking language, the removal of about 1 million Tibetan children from families into boarding schools and being subject to constant surveillance. There are practices taking place that run contrary to the human right to education, the right to linguistic and cultural freedom and the right to freedom of religion or belief. There was also deep concern expressed about the environmental damage being done to the roof of the world. Tibet is the largest alpine ecosystem in the world, with 14 of the highest mountain peaks providing fresh water to more than 10 river systems. Only recently there have been reports of more than 1,000 Tibetans being arrested for protesting over significant environmental concerns. What was very clear, Speaker, though, is that the words of support from the Australian government and the commitment to raise human rights concerns are very much appreciated by Tibetans living in exile. It's important for independent human rights observers to be allowed back into Tibet. What was also clear was, despite the loss suffered by millions of Tibetans since 1959, they are a people committed to dialogue, to non-violence, a warm-heartedness and compassion for all humankind. I will continue to advocate for the rights of Tibetans whose educational, religious, cultural and linguistic freedoms have been eroded, and I look forward to continuing also to work with my local Tibetan community. From Gaza to Ukraine and to Tibet, we should ensure that we do not become hard of heart and continue to advocate for peace and freedom for all our brothers and sisters.